Is in. You want me to bring him out? Okay. Wow. He has an ag rob from 2012, another ag rob from 2015, a continuous family violence that was just dismissed.
Was
today.
It dismissed?
Today.
So that's what I was confused about. Okay.
I see a dismissal on a continuous.
That had not come through on mine yet. Okay,
so as of this morning, it wasn't dismissed. So.
We've been trying to figure it out.
I'm now seeing it's dismissed.
Okay. So that makes sense. The continuous was for the two AFMs that he was charged with on, these two. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. They're from the same day. It looks like the same transaction. It's his mom and dad is how I read it in the
So did he allegedly beat up mom and dad?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's why it's two.
Wait, he allegedly assaulted both his parents. That's not just emotionally devastating, it legally triggers 2 separate assault charges in Texas family violence. ISNT, taken lightly, especially when it involves multiple victims in a single incident.
So someone mistakenly just put it two together and charges a
Well,
felony?
actually, although penal code judge, it's continuous. The way that people bring two people, even in the same day, it's continuous. But it was refiled, so that's immaterial now.
Is this what you wanted to be 2 misdemeanors?
So I wasn't on the felony. I was just trying to figure out what was happening because we had the 2 misdemeanors from the same transaction as the continuous. So now that I know it's being dismissed, it makes more sense.
Speak English, sir. Yes. Good morning. You are Enrique Alvarez. Yes. Mr. Alvarez, you're charged with 2 counts of assault. You're facing assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail on each of those cases and/or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 30th, 2024, officers were dispatched to an arrest for a disturbance call. They spoke with Ms. Alvarez, defendant's father, who had injuries to both sides of his face, a swollen eye, and blood on his jacket. The complaining witness, his mother, had a scrape on her right elbow and a bruise on her calf. There was blood on the driveway and on both of the complaining witness's clothes.
Let S pause right here. All of this over a dollar that one impulsive moment spiraled into a probable cause hearing, a potential year in jail per count, and a fractured family. What would you have done in that situation? Drop your thoughts below.
The defendant's father lives at the residence. He advised the defendant asked him for $1, and the complainant told him to go get to work. The defendant went outside and knocked over a potted plant. The complainant witness.
All of this for $1.
The complainant went to pick up the plant, and the defendant struck him in the face with his fist. The complainant felt pain. His mother stated that the defendant, the complaining witness, started fighting, so she attempted to stop the fight. The defendant kicked her in the leg and pushed her to the ground, and she felt pain.
Mr. Alvarez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with this, both of your cases. Sam, where do we go from here?
Just with like a bond set, because there's no bond set at this point. And he's been in custody for, I believe, the last 3 months on the continuous.
Wow, really?
Yes, so I think we're going to have to figure out what it is we want to do on this.
It's jail.
Well, I just been doing my.
Just, you have some serious anger issues, man. I don't know why. You have an ag rob, another ag rob. You had that continuous. You had to do some soul searching, Mr. Alvarez.
Yes, sir.
That attitude or the anger, all it does is lead you to jail. Over $1 leads you to now 3 months of your life have been ruined for $1. I would hope that you do some soul searching back there so that we can get to the root of the problem so that you stop coming back.
Oof. When a judge starts talking about diaper duty and how your parents put up with you, you know they about to drop the hammer. And refusing a PR bond that the court saying, we Dan T trust you to stay out of trouble on your own.
I don't know. What do you guys think as far as a bond? Lavelle?
You understand what that's fine with each. Sure.
We would ask for a PR bond.
I'm not going to grant the PR bond. I just, you scare me, Mr. Alvarez, really. You do, because with the prior 2 ag robs, and it's mom and dad, really. How many times they change your diaper? How many times they put up with you? Really? I'll set it at 3,000 each. Yeah. Mr. Alvarez, I don't know if you're gonna bond out, okay? But if you do, you're not to have contact with your mother or your father. I'm also going to issue orders for protection on each of those of your mom and dad. So if I can get this thing to work. So Pedro Alvarez. And Maria Garcia de Alvarez, they're both now will be identified as protected individuals. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against them. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior.
Finally, a sliver of hope, the judge suggests an expedited TR, which could be a temporary release pending mental health evaluation or treatment. It's a small door opening, but only if Alvarez walks through it honestly. What do you think? Can someone with a record like this change?
You cannot be in possession of a weapon or go within 200 feet of where they live or where they work. Sam, tell me, has there not been a bond in the felony cases?
It was set at 60,000, I believe.
Okay.
And he did not make it.
Do you have anyone to bond you out now, Mr. Alvarez?
I've been given his sister's number. He says that I think she's the best person I have to get in touch with, but he doesn't think she'll be able to make it.
You know, these are things that you have to think about before making a move when you're out in the free world. If I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen? If you don't have anyone in this world that's going to bond you out, is it worth it? You know? I think that at this point, probably what would be best is let's get a TRAS done. You know, there's no sense in having him just languish in jail for nothing. So let's do an expedited TRAS. Let's see what they say, what would be the best way of going through this thing. You know, I don't want to keep you in there forever. That's not the goal of here. We don't like to just keep people in jail, but we need to get to the root of the problem to figure out where the anger stems from. Once we get to that and figure out and deal with it, then you can go ahead and live your life and work, make money, and perhaps get married and have kids, you know? But the last thing we want is you to get out there in the real world and, God forbid, have a child and release on that child. That's not what we want. So let's address this anger issue. Let's get to it. And if they have a proper diagnosis, and if you're honest with them, because that's what it takes, be honest with them. Speaking of which, on the honest TRAS, is he here today? Frazier?
You have him back there.
Okay, so we need Mr. Brooker. Hopefully he'll show up, yeah. Be honest, and then we can work something to get you out and deal with all these issues, huh? But if I see that you're honest, it's not gonna go, because we have this issue with another inmate now where we had a TRAS and it came back and it was completely just, we know it's bogus.
Okay.
Work it, be honest, and then I'll help you out, Mr. Alvarez.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, so let's expedite it now so we don't just have him sit and
I'll
wait.
do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do you mind, there's only a mo-up on one of the cases. Can you file it on the second one, please?
All right.
Okay.
I'm on this witness.
Mr. Robertson, you're charged with criminal trespass. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during any questions and interviews with the state of Texas. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you, sir.
On June 19th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a panic alarm at a 7-Eleven. The complaining witness advised that the defendant entered the business and stared at her before leaving. The complaining witness officers reviewed at the location, and upon contact with the defendant told officers he remembered being told not to return.
Mr. Robertson, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to go back to this location.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Look, you can pray all you want. It's your actions that dictate what happens. You now have 2 open felony cases. You think they're going to be happy that you picked up this new case? Right. They're probably, if my guess, at some point when judge gets wind of this, they're going to file a motion to revoke your bond and raise it up. So be on the lookout.
Sure.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a clothing line, and I work with my movie company with furniture.
So how much money do you make a month doing them?
It depends on where I move. About 1,500 a month, maybe like 1,000, maybe 1,000.
The lawyer, sir.
Sir?
Can you afford a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Oh no, sir. I can't afford a lawyer. Oh, I can't afford a lawyer. I can't. I need a representative. Yeah.
No. What happened with the assault of a peace officer retaliation?
Judge, that case.
Say that again?
7-Eleven gas station.
Another 7-Eleven.
Yeah, complainant stated she observed defendant was criminally trespassed on May 10th, told defendant to leave. Defendant then told the complainant that she was a snitch and was going to get a big girl to come whoop complainant's ass. Because she keeps calling the police on him, calling the complainant to be in fear of her life. Defendant stated he remembered officers telling him not to return to the gas station and that he returned to warn the complainant that no one likes her and that unknown people want to beat her ass. Officer detained the defendant. Defendant kicked Officer Becerra, causing pain, spit on the officer, and told the officer, "I'm going to beat your ass."
Mr. Robertson, you've shown me continually that you can't stop going to the 7-Eleven. I'm now going to stop.
I'm not crazy, sir. I swear. My mom's right there. I'm not crazy, sir. I can go. I swear to God.
Are you mom? Come on up, mom.
I swear to God, I got common sense. I swear to God, I'm not stupid, sir. I would never go to 7-Eleven.
Listen, your words tell me. Guys, keep it down, please. You tell me you're not crazy. You tell me you're not going to do this. But over and over, you keep going to the 7-Eleven. So how is it, Mom, how can we get him to stop going to that 7-Eleven? Because every time he goes there, he picks up a new case.
Okay, this is where things get intense. The judge is furious, and he's making it crystal clear violate that no contact order, and your bond's going. Sky high, it's not just about trespassing anymore. It's about public safety and judicial authority.
He is not going back. The young lady that he was talking to was a friend of one of his best friend's daughters. He was telling her, got it.
My only concern is you are not to go back. You have shown me that you will defy court order after court order. So I'm going to put an ankle monitor on you now so that I know if you go over there. And I'm going to tell you, you go over there, I'm going to make your bond so high, you're going to flip. Who's posting all the bonds? You? Do you realize that every time they revoke the bond, you are on the hook? That bond that he paid was $12,000 upstairs. If they revoke that bond, you're going to be on the hook for the $10,000. Be very careful. I'm telling you now, you violate this condition now, that I see that you're going to do it, I'm going to put your bond 10 times that amount. Because I'm going to do everything in my power to protect every person of Harris County. I don't care where they're working. I don't care what they're doing. They work in a city dump. I'm going to.
This ending is a masterclass in courtroom psychology. The judge turns from punitive to paternal urging Mr. Robinson to fill his time with something real. But here's the question. Can accountability and creativity coexist when the stakes are this high?